Mic check 1. Mic check 2. Konnichiwa, minasan. It's your boy, the Otaku Natsu, coming in for another episode of our podcast, Anime Discussions. It is Filthy Casuals. I have been waiting so long to have this particular guest join our show. Last time, if you might remember, we had Christian, aka Angry Raichu, on the channel. He wanted to take the topic of shonen anime, and boy, I honestly felt like that one we got to the topics. We tried to stay on course as much as we can, but it ultimately became a discussion about growing up Mexican. Really at the end of the day, because as we discussed, the availability of anime and what sources that we had it to us was a lot different growing up in Southern California / in his case TJ. You basically only have one or two channels that you can get it from, and it's just nonstop replays of the same saga for certain animes. Like as soon as you'd finish the Freezer arc, boom, back to the beginning. I'm like, but that's in the past, or we're moving forward. We will have Christian on the channel once again very soon. But our next guest, like I said, is one of the co-hosts of one of our soon-to-be favorite series on the channel, Manny's Hell Stages, which again, spoilers, because Manny's here today, there will be another episode of that. I know a lot of you have been looking forward to this one in particular, because today's episode is going to be Elden Ring. Yes, I'm going to get my shit kicked in. Yes, Manny, my friend Jose, wouldn't miss this episode for the world, because, Jose literally says, I'm not going to miss this one. Wish me luck, guys, but there'll be more on that later. Just remember a couple of things. There's going to be another giveaway on the channel once we get back from Anime Expo. That one will be for a $50 gift card. After that, there's going to be... during the Anime Expo, we're going to be live streaming the event. So feel free to stop by, say hi to us. It'll be like you're there, and I really am excited to share that part of... I guess this experience with you guys, because Anime Expo is a huge part of my life. It's really the reason why I even started this channel, to share my love of anime and gaming with you guys. It's kind of, I don't want to equate it to like religion, but it really is something that I need to, like an itch I need to scratch every year. And the fact that I haven't been able to scratch that itch for the last 2 years due to COVID, selfish or unselfish reasons, mostly be selfish, I'm glad it's back. And so without further ado, let's go ahead and get to the discussions. For those of you who don't know, I'm going to have Manny introduce himself really quickly, and we're going to go ahead and get into the first topic conversation, which I already spoilers, I already kind of gave away on the last few streams, but we have him here, guys. We're going to make him pay. We're going to make him pay. We're going to make the Dark Lord pay, I swear to God. Just remember. Alright, Manny, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Well, some of you might know, but I've been on this channel before. I am Manuel. My friends call me Manny, or I am otherwise known as Zero online gaming. And for this particular interview, I'm going to be asked about slice of life genre animes for the most part.
Okay. All right, that's good, Manny. And how many years would you say that you've been not watching anime, but like an avid anime / manga, or even light, as you guys, Manny will get into further discussion. Light novels are a huge part of anime, and he's going to enlighten us on exactly why. I was actually ignorant to this for a few years before I met Manny, and it really, for better or for worse, Manny changed my life. And so now I know about light novels, and I can appreciate them. And I used to think they were just books without pictures. I was like, what the fuck is this shit? I would pick up I'd buy a copy of my favorite, what I thought was going to be a manga, and it'd be filled with words. I'm like, I didn't sign up to read Hunter x Hunter. I'm like, that's an inside joke for those of you who have been reading the last few chapters. Alright, so, so to answer that question, Manny, so how long have you been an avid anime or manga or light novel consumer, and what kind of role does it play in your life nowadays?
Well, I guess you can say I've been watching from like a pretty young age, back when I was still living in TJ. My uncle was like a huge Dragon Ball fan, so when he watched it in TJ, it was in Spanish, but I watched it also with him. It was either that or Sailor Moon. I don't remember which one was like the first anime I ever watched. But since then, I've been watching stuff like Dragon Ball, Naruto, Bleach, mainstream stuff, and then I branched off to like some stuff that's like not really in like I would say the main popular stuff.
Yeah.
But overall, yeah.
And it's just to kind of follow up on that. I am 100% know what you're talking about. And in fact, the next episode of this, I plan on having Jose on the show coming up soon. We're going to be discussing kind of fringe anime. It's not one that are like have like a specific you know genre S. It's just ones that didn't get the AAA front and center stage view for whatever reason. We're gonna be talking about that because Jose seems to have a pretty grasp of knowledge of about a few animes or mangas that I hadn't even heard of. I was ignorant of Eureka 7 until that guy opened up to me, and it actually being was a really nice surprise for me. But all right, but that'll be for next episode. Okay. Sticking with today's theme of slice of life, let's just get into it, guys. The first topic on the books. Everybody's favorite dumpster fire. It is the quintessential quintuplets. All right, so for those of you who don't know what quintessential quintuple is/was, because it's dead to me, Manny, would you kindly give a quick synopsis of the general overview of quintessential quintuplets?
Uh, so overall, the plot is the main character, Futaro Uesugi, is a guy who's in high school, and overall his family's pretty poor. So normally he like lives in a poor lifestyle, but it all changes when he meets the daughter of a certain family, and he was ignorant at first, but apparently he was given a job to tutor her and her four sisters. And overall, it was very difficult for him, but it paid well, so he had to stick with it. And over the course of time, each of the girls gradually, one by one, starts to fall in love with him. And the main plot, or I should say, like, the main question is because in the very first episode, and also if you're reading the manga, you see that he apparently ends up marrying one of the quintuplets, but you don't know who it is until you like go further through the story, and ultimately at the end you know who it is.
All right, and so as you can imagine, with in harem manga/animes, which by the way, let me preface: the only reason we're talking about this specific harem manga /night novel is the fact that it is considered slice of life tab. It does have mainly harem characteristics and stuff like that, but some of the manga/animes we're going to be talking about today also follow that of it. Slice of. It's very seldomly do you actually get like a straight up slice of life directly anime. I have a few of the ones that I'm going to bring up today are just like straight up. It might have like a fringe of like some fantasy in him, but for the most part, it's going to be kind of like those where you just kind of throw on the tab because that's really what people want to see. That those are the ones that tend to do the best. And that's kind of the ones that we love. I always feel like slice of life really is just kind of a how do I put this? So if you have a sundae and you just have the ice cream, that's good, right? Because you eat sundaes for the ice cream. But if you add whipped cream, some chocolate sauce, some nuts, and a nice little cherry on top, it's that much better. And I feel like all the extra toppings and the cherry on top is what the tab slice of life is, or what it can do to what would otherwise just be a harem anime. Because a lot of the times you kind of get stuck in like these ruts. And on the next topic where we go from there, I'm gonna be talking about like a perfect example of this is Monster Musume. But to keep on the topic of Um, quintessential quintuplets. All right, so Manny, we've already discussed how this anime is and the general overview of it. Um, who enlighten us who Futaro chooses, and do you feel as if the right person was chosen? If so, why? And after you're done, and after I'm done, I'm gonna ask you to defend your lies and slander. Okay? So we're gonna go ahead and give you a fair shot. The floor is yours. Take literally as much time as you need, because I'm gonna hit you so hard with some real truth. All right, guys. So this is Manny's take on whether or not quintessential quintuplets was done correctly. Remind me of the author's name again.
Neji Haruba.
Neji Haruba, that bastard. Okay, let's go ahead and talk about Neji Haruba's quintessential quintuplets. The floor is yours, Manny.
So you wanted to know who's my girl, right?
Who is best girl in quintessential quintuplets? Did your best girl win? And 3, should they have won? And 4, how they won, and just so forth. Give it.
Alright, so before we get into that, I will say that originally when I was reading the story, keep in mind, the story hadn't finished at that point yet. In the manga, the farthest it was when I've read it, but then it stopped because it needed more
When
chapters.
was this? Give people the time frame, because people are just finding out about quintessential stuff because of season 2 dropping a few months ago. So.
Well, this was, I think, a year ago, maybe a bit more than that. It was when the first season originally aired. I saw a few episodes and I thought, oh wow, this is pretty good. Well, other than the animation, but that's a different topic. Anyways, so then I checked to see if there was a manga for it, and there was. So I was like, okay, rather than waiting for more content to come out, I'll just go ahead and read the manga to see how the story goes from there. And then I kept reading, and I was like, oh wow, this is more better than your generic harem manga. And overall, I enjoyed it quite a lot. And originally, when I was going through, I was particular to the third sister, Miku, and the fan base goes by the Church of Miku. But yes, originally, yes, I was part of that. But then, as I kept reading through the manga, I was like, it doesn't look like he's gonna end up with Miku. So I kept rereading. I kept looking for hints and stuff to who is actually the ultimate end girl. And then I thought, okay, it's the fourth sister, Yotsuba. That is who I'm gonna go with. So I became part of the Yotsu Bros, which is the following of Yotsuba. Oh my god.
You're not done, keep going.
So yes, as more chapters started to drop and more information was made available, who Futaro ultimately chooses, it did end up being Yotsuba. I will say that the ending sort of felt kind of rushed. That was my main problem with it. But overall, I was glad that the girl I picked was the one who won it all in the end. So, I'm very happy, and as you can clearly see, he's upset because Miku lost.
Okay. You know?
Yeah. Alright.
Alright, so let's go ahead and talk, straighten out a few points, okay? Because I'm here to bring some unbiased, some just straight facts to you guys. So first, let's get first thing. Miku didn't just get screwed, she got fucked in terms of how this went. Second, how dare you, even in your wildest dreams, think that Yotsuba was a good potential match for the main character Utsugi. The girl just kind of, for any of you who didn't read that, she literally it's just there. throughout the whole anime. They have a little arc in there for her of where she's like, oh, I can't say no to the people that are using and abusing me, and the main character has to save her from this. That's literally like the only interaction that these two people have that we don't get to see because all of a sudden at the end where he's talking about it being rushed, you don't like, and even in the manga, they pull out of their asses something like, I've always loved her. Like, it's like, she was so Genki all the time, and our best date was when we were swinging on the swings, and I was like, fuck that bullshit. Like, no, you don't get, like, this is not how it works. Like, there's so much more time was spent with Miku-sama, and yes, I say Miku-sama because I choose. Miku is best girl, for anyone who can't read lips during, it's like, she is the greatest. She puts the thigh. She has the best of both worlds. If you're a boo man, she's got you, and if you're a thigh man, she's got you. And she's got the extra, those little spanks going on. And of course, she even has the flavor of like the Beats by Dre type headphones. Fantastic. But I just and the fact that she's like a history buff and all that it just makes her like such a relatable person, and like it feels more human and more organic, which is honestly what you want to feel when you're reading titles such as these. Even if it's a harem anime, 9 times out of 10 it's gonna end up with a guy, not choosing anyone, and the story just ends right then and there, and then we're all set to hang ourselves in disappointment. But this is what I can't get over with quintessential success, because not only did you ended it with the wrong choice, man. You had what's worse is you guys have to understand. So the manga ended around like maybe 2-3 months before another manga which was amazing. I don't know if you guys know about this, but there's one called Bokuben. That's the Japanese title. In English, it's called We Never Learn. So that was another harem manga who actually, oh my god, had a successful ending. You could actually choose between 5 different canon endings, which again, 5 different canon endings, which you could have done, and 5 different canon. You could have done that with a quintessential quintuplets in the sisters. They had 5. You could have had choose your own ending essentially, and it would have been just as amazing, if not more, because even if you're a masochist and you believe in Satan and you want and only the Dark Lord to win every time, there's Ichigo for you. And, if you want Nino, which again I stick by this, and Miku is still the best choice, but if I'm being honest, the girl that deserves to win, and Adam, I hope you're watching, is Nino, because not only did she confess to the main character, she did it twice during the same day. She wanted to drive home the point, like, listen, I know I was a bitch to you, like a majority of the anime, and it's like, but let me make it right. I'm still just as hot as the rest of my sisters, because we're all fucking twin quintuplets, and it's going to be just fine. And you know what? By the end of the anime, you're kind of rooting for Nino in a way, because tsunderes are a bit overplayed, and she really was a bitch at times. She almost even threatened to get him thrown in jail for like peeping, even though he wasn't really peeping. But and then you have, of course, Miku-sama, which everybody's rooting for. She's the best. This guy even concedes that she had won him over early on. But then you have Yotsuba,
4D chess master,
the dark horse. She sold out her own sister. She throughout the entire thing, she's having conversations with both Nino and Miku, and at one point even Ichika, and she's like, I'm rooting for all of you. I hope that you all get to love the person you want to love. And in the end, she says, sorry guys, he's mine now. Go fuck yourselves. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, I didn't sign up for this shit. Like, I didn't sign up for like like I thought like stories were supposed to have good endings, happy endings. Like Snow White gets saved by Prince Charming and they'll run off, happily ever after. What is this bullshit about like some 4D chess master comes out of nowhere and just like takes away like the arguably the most compelling person in their lives away from all the other girls simply because they're selfish. Like I don't understand that. It's Yotsuba, and then this actual story about it being like, oh well, she was the original girl that Utsugi met that one day, and yeah, by the way, major spoilers. But I know we're pretty far into it, but like, she's always talking about like, it's like I didn't want to say it. I always remembered. Even on the first day when we bumped each other in the cafeteria, he's like, I immediately recognized him. Like, fuck you! No, you didn't. None of if you go back to the early chapters, none of it looks like he had an idea of what. And I've seen some pretty dense anime characters back in my day, but this takes the fucking cake. Like, there's no way. Like the girls' faces never changed, and he should have known immediately that it was one of them. The second that one grandmother / grandfather arc comes, and he finds out that they're quintuplets, and he finds out that when he sees them all with the same fucking long Itsuki haircut, that it is the girl that he had met back then was one of them. It's just so. And then that's Yotsuba, and then Itsuki. Itsuki could have this could have been an anime about 4 sisters, not 5. So I guess you would call them quadruplets. And it would still have the same effect because she had a chance at the very beginning. She's the first one to actually truly interact with the main character at first.
I hate that trope.
And they literally nothing. It's just nothing. Like they literally they had more chemistry than almost any of them, and it just goes nowhere. Like it's like the author is like, I'm gonna put this here for you guys. Just leave it here, and I'm gonna bait and switch you guys.
It wasn't really bait and switch. It's just that she realized her feelings way too late.
Like it. But it's like the end result is still the same. You could have literally just written her out of the story and nothing would have changed.
Not really.
Yes. But I don't know. That's just the facts, guys. I'm sorry that I had to unleash on Manny, but sometimes
it's not facts. It's biased opinions.
Sometimes animals need to be put down, and we need to do that.
You gotta fall on your sword.
Miku-sama will always be number 1 forever and ever. And hopefully one day the creator will redo the anime, and just like Disney is redoing Star Wars because they realize they fucked up. And, things will get fixed.
No.
You can't just let me be happy, man. Anyway. Okay, so that'll be pretty much wraps up about
your rant.
Like quintessential. There's a bunch of other things I could say, but even for this channel or not.
Didn't you say he wanted me to try and defend her?
Oh, okay, yes. Man, if you even can try and justify defending your choice, why in the fucking Fathomist universe did the Dark Horse, aka the Betrayer, deserve to win? I'm not wrong about that. You can go read this yourself. I'm not wrong about that.
Well, I spent a lot of time rereading the manga to see trying to figure out who was the person he met in the past, and then as I kept rereading and noticing some hints, I was like, oh, it was Yotsuba. Yotsuba's the one that he met. And I will say that Yotsuba is good with Futaro on account of that she's kind of an opposite to Futaro. If he tries to run, he'll run out of breath really quick. But Yotsuba, she can keep going all day. Basically, he's not too energetic, and Yotsuba's like highly energetic. So in that case, she like balances him out, I would say. Also, if you notice when you're like either reading the manga or watching the show, that Yotsuba's the one who's always pushing him to like do like class activities and like all that jazz. The first instance is when she, I think, nominates him for the field trip, like one of the helpers, the organizers, and she's helping him. And overall, he's like having a good time for the most part. And again, she like keeps pushing him. Like when she nominated him for like class president or something, and he's like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah.
But overall, she's the one who's like constantly pushing Futaro to try new stuff. And as he goes through with his school life, he starts to make friends, which apparently he didn't have at all, which was pretty sad. And
for being poor.
And during his interactions with her, he notices that he's like having a good time, especially during when she takes him to the park where the swings are. It's the first time that you see him like laughing, like wholeheartedly laughing. You don't see that throughout like the whole rest of the manga or the anime, like just laughing because he's having that much of a good time. All the other sisters, I would say, they're like more focused on trying to like sway Futaro to them, like trying to seduce him or impress him, that sort of deal. But Yotsuba, I would say, is just trying to get him to enjoy life in general, which I can see as like a really good thing. And you can see like some hints that he's like wavering towards her, like when he's describing all the sisters to the Rena character on the boat. He's describing them, calling them all idiots in a way. But when he's like describing Yotsuba, he's like trying to say something, but then he's like, "Oh, never mind. But she's still an idiot." And I thought that was funny. And he's like, "Oh, I think he's like starting to feel something for her." And overall, yeah. Basically, he enjoys being around her. He sees how she tries to put others before herself, which I can respect some aspect of that. But overall, she does put others before herself, but at the cost of her own happiness, I would say. That's the main fault with her throughout most of the series. And at the end, he's trying to get her to like be like, it's okay for you to be happy as well. But again, I would say the manga's ending was rushed. But apparently, in the movie, they had like some extra scenes between him and Yotsuba. So I can't wait to see that. To see.
It'll never happen because I heard just like Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid Studio was burned down.
Oh my god!
I was just joking.
Did you burn it down?
No, I would never betray such a beautiful anime. Which, by the way, is one of the animes we're going to be talking about today. So, all right. So I apologize, guys. You had to listen to about 3 or 4 minutes of lies.
Oh my god.
But you know, it is what it is. Bot in the chat.
Yeah.
And we got. So, thank you so much, Manny, for your take on this. Even though
you're awful, Murray.
Just like Ichika, Manny deserves the guillotine. Okay, because Ichika, I just want to get this off my chest. Ichika may very well be the worst anime character ever. Like I've literally never hated another human being, because it shows how ugly humans can be. Like you have a visually even though I find Miko to be the most attractive to me, like coming just as a guy though, just like in terms of sex appeal, Ichika is like number one clearly. Like it's not even a contest. She even in the even though there are quintuplets, like she's an actress, she's a model and all that stuff, and she takes very good care of herself. That being said, she's a terrible human being. She not only betrays her frail, lovable Miku-sama sister, but she doubles down and she lies to Futaro multiple times about not only herself or Miku's feelings, but the fact that she was the one. Because, correct me if I'm wrong, but Ichika tried to steal Futaro away from Yotsuba. If we're going with the bullshit story that they came up
About
with.
who he met first.
About who he met first, yeah. And so that was part of it, huh? Ichika tries to
Well,
when they were still kids, you know, when they all
only two of them he met. Originally, he met Yotsuba, but when they went to the inn, at some point, Ichika was like, "Oh, who's this?" And then she's the one who was like playing with Futaro. And then I remember like Yotsuba was trying to find Futaro, and then he saw her with Ichika. But yeah, so among those two, both of them met him when they were young.
So not only is she guilty on one account, but she's on two accounts. And she did it. She was a monster as a child, and even worse as an adult. So I don't even know what you want from me. Like that's.
It's because she took Nino's "I'll do whatever it takes to win for my love" to the extreme.
Yeah, she cut her own brakes in terms of being a train. But it's that yandere face of Ichika will stay in my nightmares and memories for the rest of my life. Y'all know what I'm talking about. So, as we put that chapter of our lives to a close.
No, I still haven't seen the movie.
To a close. None of it was canon. It was all.
Oh my god!
It's all just
sore
garbage.
loser.
I don't lose. Sometimes I just don't win. You know, there's a difference.
No.
Well, okay, we're gonna move on to the next segment, which this segment is going to be talking about our favorite slices of life anime/mangas. This one, again, is pretty unlike the first segment, which is fact-based, opinion-based. It's gonna be more, you know, just everybody kind of giving their take and actually showing their love, why they like certain pieces, and why and if we can make any recommendations for you, loyal viewers, of what you should be picking up and what you should be watching this summer, because I know a lot of you have time over the summer now that school's over, or you know, you're going to be headed to conventions yourselves. I really the following recommendations, even from Manny, like, all kidding aside, I have a lot of respect for Manny in terms of when it comes to recommending animes. Everything but Quintessential Quintuplets has been like a phenomenal read, and you know, it was a great. It's been a great experience. So, like I said, I was really looking forward to having Manny onto the show. Hopefully, we have him in the future, but this is fantastic for now. And all right, so I'm gonna go ahead and give the first take to Manny. But basically, the question that I'm asking both of us is, what are your top 3 favorite anime/manga/light novels that have the slice of life tab in them? So it can either be as the main tab, something along the lines like Komi Can't Communicate, or it can be something as like a certain side tab, like we just talked about Quintessential Quintuplets, as a slice of life, but it also is mainly focused on the harem aspect of the anime. Or in this case, you could swap out the harem with, you know, adventure, or you know, they don't tend, that doesn't tend to be a combination, but I mean, I'm sure it exists somewhere. Or just like something that has that you feel like has you kind of hooked for, like, kind of the mundaneness of it all. Like, you almost kind of visually live through these people. Alright, so without further ado, go ahead and give your first. We'll go 1, 1, 1, 1, and then 1.
Okay, so back and forth.
Yeah, so I'll go ahead. The guest goes first, so go ahead and give it, introduce the anime/manga or piece. Why, when you started reading it, if it's still going, where they can look it up, some of the major plot points, and do you recommend it?
Alright, well, this one, If it's not quintessential quintuplets, then I can wholeheartedly say that it would be Oragairu, which is just the short title of My Teen Romantic Comedy Is Wrong as I Expected. I think that's the title.
Yeah, it's a long ass title. Well, and that's not even the. There's another one too that he's gonna talk about too. That has a pretty long title. But go ahead.
But yeah, that one I would definitely recommend because it involves a guy who pretty much like has literally no friends again. But he is
something.
Hikigaya Hachiman.
There's a theme going on here, don't you think?
So pretty much, it's a guy, pretty much a loner for the most part. He doesn't have any friends, but that's because in his childhood he like rescued a dog, but he got hit by a car at the same time, so he wasn't able to like make friends when he was in middle school. So when high school came along, he's like an outcast. But anyways, he's forced to join a literature club by his teacher, who you could say is also best girl under different circumstances. But that's where he meets one of the students, Yukinoshita. And when he initially meets her, he's like, "Oh wow, she's like really beautiful." But then her icy personality drives him back a bit. And basically, the club that he's in forces him to help out other students with their problems. So when they do their first test, they're helping out another student who happens to be in one of his classes, which is oh god, what was her name? Yui Gahama. And she's an energetic girl, and apparently she has a crush on Hikigaya, but you don't really know that in the beginning. And once he's done helping her, she also decides to join the club. So then those three are together and they solve problems for other students. And overall, they do solve problems, but the way that Hikigaya goes about it, most of the time when he's solving problems, it's at his expense. Like either people will think less of him, but the solution will still be there. So overall, when he solves problems, it's always at his expense, whether it's like how people think of him or that sort of deal. And that's definitely prominent towards the end of the first season. They're like, some people that he knows, they're like, "Oh, how could you do this?" Is like, I know that you solved the problem, but like, couldn't you have gone about it differently? And that's how the first season sort of ends. He does what others wouldn't really do. And then in the second season, that becomes a problem for Yuki Noshita and Yui Gahama, because he's hurting himself for the benefit of others, and they don't like that. And in the second season, another problem that comes up is that both the girls are showing interest in him, but they're caught in a bit of a love triangle. And he knows that they can't keep that up. And in the third season, that's where it gets resolved, and he ends up with one of them. I won't go into like who he ends up with unless it's like asked or whatever. So I'll just leave it at that.
All right, and then so once again, what's the full title? I know it's a tongue twister. Where can they watch it? And would you actually recommend it? And if so, do you recommend it from the beginning, or do you recommend like the 3-episode rule, where you kind of just give it 3 episodes and you kind of skip ahead to where the story starts, or read it from the beginning? So go ahead.
Well, there is a light novel, and I would say if you want like more detailed like thoughts on like what he's thinking or whatever, or some other stuff that's not shown in the anime, then yes, you should read the light novel. It goes far more in depth than the show actually puts on air. And yeah, I would recommend that you start from the first season, because if you start from the second season, you don't really have a grasp on like who's who and all that stuff, because the first season pretty much sets up all the characters and like how they interact with each other.
So that world building in this case is necessary for...
Yes, it's necessary.
Okay. And where can they watch it?
I mean, I think isn't it on Crunchyroll?
Yes.
Yeah, you can watch it on Crunchyroll, or you can just go to like one of the websites that just streams it for free.
We are not responsible if you guys get your computer with some viruses because you went to something like 123anime.com, myanimelist.com or something like that. But it's I would recommend you support the official release on Crunchyroll, which now is also Funimation, because Funimation, rest in peace, was acquired by Crunchyroll. So it's it also, you support the artists that way by actually getting an account or even doing a free trial and watching ads that way. At least a portion of the money goes to said authors. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get to my segments. I'll keep mine. I know I'm pretty long-winded most of the times, but we want to keep time for the other video that we're going to be doing today. And so my first recommendation for the slice of life topic is one that I'm sure most of you know. If you don't, you are definitely missing out on this one, guys. They're all going to have a certain theme to them. You're going to notice all three of my recommendations. Does that make me a weirdo? No, it just makes me a connoisseur. No. Okay, so the first one, this should be, have an idea of what trend we're going, is Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid. Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid, a quick synopsis about it is, one day a senior programmer in Japan named Kobayashi is overworked, continues to be belittled by, at the time, what she sees as a black company. Black company in Japanese means a company that works you to the bone, doesn't have many perks. You work long hours for very little pay, and it is what it is. There's not much room for growth. And Kobayashi, however, is an extremely talented programmer, and so she's very respected in our company, even though there's a lot of problems with the company itself. One day when she's, drunk after leaving work on what I would assume would be a Friday, because there's no way you would come into work with how heavy she was passed out that day. She finds herself in the forest, and she finds what we're gonna later be calling her as Toru, which is the main character in the show, the actual dragon maid. Toru is a dragon daughter of the Lord of Demise, which is the main dragon from her realm, which exists outside the human realm, where there's magic. There's also humans, but they're like wizards. They have access to like all this fairy tale crap, and so Toru, after being banished from that realm where she she had gotten into a fight, is gravely injured and has a sword impaled on her upper back, middle abdomen area. And so Kobayashi, being in her drunken stupor, grabs the sword and releases Toru from her pain. Toru, being the ever grateful omniscient being, because you have to understand, in this universe, dragons not only have the ability to like breathe fire, fly, and they have magical abilities. Toru can do quite a bit of things, such as like turn invisible, stealth mode, transform into a human form, transform out of a human form. So that allows her to kind of grow a friendship overnight with Toru. With Kobayashi, and they're able to go from there. And obviously, the next morning, Kobayashi magically finds herself home, and she's like, "Okay, how did I get home? Like, I know I remember bits and fragments about what had happened, but was what happened last night real?" She goes to her front door because she hears a knock on the door, and sure enough, it's nothing. It's in dragon form, Lady Toru, waiting for her to, and she's like, "Oh, I guess I'm gonna be living with you, like you said." And she's like, "Wait, what? I told you could live with me?" And she was all like, "Yeah." And it's like, you and I were talking about humans, and you gave me some really good advice about molding my own path and not having to worry about what other people says. And so, in your drunken stupor, you told me that I could crash here for a while, and she does remember what she said, and she's like, "Oh fuck," basically because you're having a giant mythical beast inside your house, and so luckily Toru, as I mentioned earlier, can turn into human form, turns into the human and assumes the role of a maid inside Kobayashi's house. She turns up at first. It ends up being a really hard transition for her. Like instead of cleaning things, she just straight up Thanos snaps them out of reality, or what do you call it? Will just incinerate anything that causes her any sort of inconvenience because there are a few different factions back in her realm, and Toro belongs to what we humans would consider the evil chaos faction. And so, but as time progresses on, Toru makes more friends. She actually has a few of her friends from the other world join her, and they make friends with some of Kobayashi's friends, and a lot of hijinks ensues. It's a great read, phenomenal read. A lot of unfortunately innocent people were injured, and a lot of property was damaged a few years ago in a fire. So I can't stress to you guys enough how much I would like you guys to actually support the main source. You can find this on Crunchyroll, but and on other sites, but do watch on Crunchyroll. The books, aka the manga and light novels, are fantastic as well. I'm currently caught up all the way. I wait every I think it's a monthly issue for Kobayashi's Dragon Maid now. So every month a new chapter comes out, and it's really good. It's at a really good point. I think they'll be doing hopefully a season 3 now, and in about maybe half a year from now. So, and nothing's been released officially, but there's definitely enough work to where they could actually do. And where it is right now, like they've added even more characters. You might seen a few of them on Twitter. Some a little bit more voluptuous than others. Spoilers. But some are really fun. Yeah, so if you're into fantasy, if you're into just like the daily mundane slice of life, kind of like taking a whole joke on forcing dragons to assume a more normal livelihood, then I think you'll like it. Also, iron sharpens iron. Kobayashi actually learns a few magic stuff for herself. So there's some cool wizard shit that happens later on in the anime slash manga. So I hope you guys do enjoy it. Once again, it's Kobayashi's Dragon Maid. Alright, so we're gonna now go for pick number 2 for Manny, and let's go on for that. So Manny, what is your pick? Same question. Go.
My second one, I would pick Grisea no Kajitsu, and in English the title is The Fruit of Grisea. It follows a guy, and apparently he's trying to live a more normal life. So he enrolled into a school, but the school's a bit strange because there's only about, I think, like 4 students. But that's because it's not necessarily a school. It's sort of like a rehabilitation center. But overall, as the story goes, he's helping all of the other students. They're all girls, by the way.
As they always are.
They have like troubles, like either with family, mentally, that sort of deal. And one by one, he sorts throughout all of these. And this is just for the first season. But he's not a normal guy. He's pretty much like sort of like a secret agent for a certain agency. Basically, he goes around either doing like assassination jobs or that sort of thing. It's not just assassination, but like a lot of like secret stuff that he wouldn't really want others to know. And in the second season, all that comes to a head because he's dealing with a bigger issue. Apparently he had a clone of him made, and that clone runs an organization that's trying to kill him. So he's away from the school and all the girls, and then they're trying to figure out a way to like help him, and overall they do. And towards the end, he like I don't really remember. I think he like fakes his death or something, and then him and everyone else, they go to like some sort of island to like live their lives peacefully away from like all this stuff that's pretty much trying to escape from like all the negative stuff. But overall, yeah, it's a really good series, and there's 2 seasons, and there's also a visual novel game that you can buy.
I love it when animes can, especially slice of life or like fringe animes, can get enough support to where they actually have video games. Yeah, most of the time you're gonna have those like visual novel games or like.
Well, in this case, the game is the thing that came out first, and then that's what turned into an anime.
Even like either way, you know what I mean. Like it's kind of cool, like just to be able to, because I know a lot of us grew up playing like Naruto Shippuden, you know, like the Ninja Storm games. Those are really fun, and it kind of brings the anime to life. In this case, for your recommendation, the anime was brought after, but you still get to. It's kind of cool knowing that you can go back to that game and be like, oh, you know, it's like I'm in that world. I get to live that a little bit. So that's pretty cool. So where can they? Is it also a Crunchyroll find or?
I'm not really sure about that. I mean, you could look. Considering that Crunchyroll and Funimation are together, there's a good chance you could probably see it there, but I'm not really sure. Apart from the first 2 seasons, there's also some OVAs, although I will say that the OVAs are a bit raunchy. Oh yeah, and there's also like the OVAs. There's like 2 particular ones. I think one of them like sets up the backstory of the main character, and it is sad as hell. His childhood was really fucked up.
Oh, not fun. Well, at the end of the day, you do need to have a few some struggle or conflict inside the slice of anime, because one of their biggest downfalls is that they tend to be just like the same running story over and over again. But that's what you come for when you. It's kind of like the same. I feel like anybody who enjoyed playing a sim game at any point in their life would really. I could recommend slice of life animes too, because you're kind of virtually living in that little universe, and if you have like our boy Manny said for his last pick, the gentleman who had trouble making friends, the loner. You also happen to be a gentleman who has hard time making friends. It's kind of like you, I guess, another bite at the apple in terms of life. So I think that's pretty
relatable.
Cool. It's relatable, yeah. Okay. So, alright, that was your second pick. Alright, so for my second pick, continuing on the theme of slice of life, this one is going to be one that you probably haven't seen unless you are a man of culture. And I really do mean I'm pretty.
I know what it is.
The last I think in order to watch this manga, this is only for viewers who are 16 years of age or above. No, there is no direct nudity, so it's not an 18 or above read just yet. The last one maybe, but this one definitely benches nears the ecchi tab. But it is you can pin me to this. You can eat me in the content. This one, I swear to God, is slice of life. I needed to look it up right now because it's a long ass name. Setokai Yakudomo. So for any of you who don't know what that is, essentially in English, that's basically the you know those like class president type characters that they'll have in certain animes. Well, the student council. That's exactly what that is. It's an anime about talking about this particular school's student council. Just like as I mentioned in the previous slice of life, it's a lot of the same recurring daily stuff, but like in this case, a lot of lewd or a lot of funny mishappenings happen during their time at the academy, and it's really really funny. The main character is a gentleman by the name of Takatoshi Suda. He's I guess you would consider him a straight edge, like, or a guy of sound mind. He just wants to, go to school. If he can be popular with women, that's a plus. He's not particularly horny or doesn't have like a or a non functional dick or anything. He's just trying to live his life at the school. He meets up with the student council president, which is a woman by the name of Shino Makusa, and Shino is a fiend. She's for the streets. She is all about all things lewd, and even when she's not trying to be, she will make sexual references during their time at school. And her I guess advances and her talks really gets on Suda's mind and forces him to kind of at times be physically violent with her sometimes, which can be refreshing. I know we live in a world of the Me Too movement, but like sometimes you want to just see people get their just desserts. I'll be honest, I'll say it. But especially when all they do is sexual harass you. That goes both ways, by the way. But there's a teacher also by the name of Naruko. She is as bad as the main girl is. She's horrible. Like, she'll come up and like go up to all these young students and will like try and pick them up and try to make her advances at them. And the running gag in the show is that even though she's only 28 years old, which is still technically young-ish, they call her Baba, which in Japanese means old bag, and or like old hag or just old lady. And so she gets constantly rejected, torn down, and she's running on that time where she's like, oh, if I don't get married by this certain time, then no one's gonna want to be with me. And it's just it's a cool running gag because eventually in the story she stops hitting on the kids and starts targeting some of the teachers in her school her own age and a little bit older, but then she finds out that they don't even want her either. And so it just becomes a poor rejection fest for Naruto. And then there's a really rich girl which is the best friend of Shino, Aria. She is dumb as bricks. All she knows is sex and money. That is all she knows. Like, she wouldn't be able to tell you what 1 + 1 is. But she can teach you about reverse cowgirl, what do you call it, the lotus blossom position, the difference between missionary and baby making position. It's like, oh my god. She does a good job making Suda very, very uncomfortable during her stay. And the last character that I want to tell you about in that one is one of my favorites. Chidi. Chidi is is a small. What's the right way of saying this? She's an underdeveloped woman. She's the same age as everyone else, but she looks like a 5-year-old child going to a school of high schoolers. And not only that, she happens to be the most academic brilliant. She can speak 100 different languages. She's like top of her class. There are a bunch of schools, universities around Tokyo trying to recruit her, and she's like a brilliant mind. But she hangs around with all these like lewd, weird people strictly because she wants to have the title of secretary on her resume. And so she's having to deal with all of these like adult humor gags and like gutter minds through the entire show, and it's hilarious. There's the one thing she hates, oddly enough, is not the lewd stuff. She hates when people call her out on her size. So the very first day that the main character Suda meets her, she talks to her like she's a lost elementary schooler. It's like, oh, let's go ahead and get you back to your mommy and daddy. It's like, you must be lost. She kicks him. She gets a little step stool and punches him straight in the nut. That's just right off the kick. So that sets the tone for the entire show, but it's a lot of fun. A lot of reoccurring jokes. If you like slice of life, mix it in with a little bit of ecchi. It is top of the line. A lot of the jump scares will take you for a loop. So that's my second recommendation, Sedokai Academy, and it definitely won't be found on Crunchyroll. Definitely won't be found. You're gonna have to watch it on one of the third party sites. I recommend going to Motion.
Daily Motion.
Daily Motion to go watch it. That's where I ended up watching. And to be, you're gonna find a lot more of the adult animes. It's not, again, I stress to God, I'm not. There might be an episode for hentais in the future, but this is not one of them. It's just ecchi. It's just dirty jokes and a lot of hijinks ensued. So we're gonna go ahead and get to the final one of Manny's recommendations, and then we'll finish off with my last one. And you kind of know what direction I'm going to, but hopefully you'll enjoy one of Manny's more serious choices. So thank you so much. All right, Manny, go ahead and nibble.
Well, for my last one, I'll go with something a bit more recent. It's called a Kevichan no Serafuku, which in English is Akebi's sailor uniform. It came out somewhat recently, like a few months ago, I would say. And first of all, the animation is gorgeous. Like, if you're gonna watch something for like animation, this is like really good. But so basically, the plot is a girl, Akebi, is going into middle school, and the reason why she wanted to go to this particular middle school, it's like really like high standards sort of deal. Like, you need really good grades. But the reason why she wanted to go there is because of the sailor uniform that her mother wore when she went to school. She thought that it was like the best thing ever. Also because it, like, if I remember right, it like sort of reminds her of like an idol that she like follows. But overall, the mother is helping make that uniform for her, like literally sewing it together with like a bunch of materials that they bought at a store. And she's like all hyped and can't wait to like finally try it on and show it off in the school. So finally, when she goes to the school, to her dismay, they like change the uniform. Like, it's not the same as the one her mother wore, and she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna stand out. I'm gonna be like ostracized for being different," and that's like the main thing that's worrying her. But overall, it works out fine because the principal's like, "Oh, this uniform is like part of our history. It's fine. You can wear this uniform if you want," and so she does. Because her mother spent like so much effort and whatnot. Also because she's wanted to like wear it the whole time. So she ends up going to her class, and then people are like, "Oh wow, that's that girl that was like wearing a different uniform." And she's like trying to make friends because a really sad part that you like learn from the story is she grew up in a really rural town. And apparently she was the only student from the class in elementary school that was being taught, which is like, what the hell? So that means she didn't have any friends at all in elementary school. And that was like really sad. So she goes to class early, and that's where she meets one of the girls in her class. And they like start to hit it off. So she makes a friend. And then through her, she starts to make more friends. And overall, it's like really slice of life, like solving problems in school. Like, oh, like we need help to like help with a photography and whatnot. Basically like school activities sort of deal. But overall, Akebi is like starting to become like more popular with all the girls because of like her energy and how helpful she is, all that sort of stuff. And one part that was like really good, they were practicing for like a volleyball sort of deal for like a school activities fair sort of thing. So they're like, "Oh, we need a place to practice." And then Kebi's like, "Oh, we can go to my elementary school and we can practice there." So she just like gave a call to her old teacher from elementary, and she's like, "Oh, can we use the field to practice?" And she's like, "I'm gonna bring my friends." And then the teacher starts crying over the phone, like, "Oh, you finally made some friends," because she was alone. She was literally the only student that was being taught.
Yeah.
And I just got sort of choked up at that moment because they both started crying, and then the teacher sees like her with all her friends. It's a really heartwarming feeling. And towards the end of the season, she like at some point during the beginning, she like joined like a theater club or some sort of thing. So her and her first friend, which is like a blonde girl, they do like a performance together. The blonde girl is like doing a piano rendition, and then she switches to violin, which is like crazy, of like an idol song, the idol that like Akebi likes, and Akebi's dancing while going to the beat of with her friend, and the performance was really good. Like the animation, the music, all that, it sells really well. And overall, it's like really good.
All right, and where can they find that anime?
Uh, well, I just use third-party sites, but I think you can watch it on Crunchyroll.
This guy's a monster. Okay, yeah. I'm pretty sure, yeah, you can watch it on Crunchyroll. But if you had to give them a third-party site to watch it on, what would it be?
I would say kickassanime.com.
I 2 second day Kick-Ass. I've watched a couple of ones that I haven't been able to find on Crunchyroll. Once again, guys, just make sure that you guys don't click on any ads. If it tries to lead you to another website, immediately back out of that tab and try again, just so that you guys aren't getting any malware. I would hate for you guys to ruin your computers. Also, when you're searching for these type of animes, do it on your phone so you can easily, delete your cookies and any tracking malware that tries to get you, because you never want to search for questionable stuff on your home desktop or laptop. Just it is what it is, and it's not to say that that anime sounds like a pretty not wholesome but a very good one to watch. I'm sure you could probably watch it in front of your parents with them not questioning too much, although parents are kind of weird about anime.
Well, maybe not with them around. I mean, the school she goes to, it's an all-girls school, so it sort of seems like there's like implications of like Yuri sort of thing, but like nothing actually happens.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's different. It's not like an ecchi one. Yeah.
Not necessarily. I mean, there's like
Fan service, right?
there is like some slight fan service, nothing too crazy though.
All right. So that's you heard it from the horse's mouth. All right, now for a personal favorite of mine and an anime that myself, Jose, and Manny have all watched and at one point loved, very near and dear our hearts. We're constantly praying for season 2. There's more than enough, material for it. And yes, Manny knows exactly what I'm about because he sees that I've already grabbed it. It's Our Girls from Monster Musume.
Yeah, I get the feeling that the reason that there hasn't been a season 2 is because if you go through the manga, it gets really raunchy.
Yeah, okay, so as you might have kind of pieced together of my favorite picks, a very sub-theme a part of mine is ecchi as well. I still wanted to keep this on slice of life, so I've chosen those as well. But I'm a guy at the end of the day. You know, it's like I want to see how close to porn I can push these things without being actual porn. And so I feel like Monster Musume does a really good job of that, of giving you like scratching that itch of, giving you what you came to see, aka beautiful, nice monster girls, versus getting that scratching that itch of being able to live a life of with like these beautiful girls. The main character, dead ass, his name is Darlene Kun. Throughout the entire series, I think at one point you get his name. I don't remember quite what it is, but you'll never hear it from it again. Even the secret agent that helps out Darling-kun throughout the entire show doesn't use his name. She calls him Darling-kun as well. Um, Starts out as just your normal nobody. He is in this world that they live in. There's these monster girls. There's one for like every fantastical subgenre of monster girl that you could think of. For like centaurs, cowgirls, sheep, like satyrs, snake girls, like lamias, like our girl Mia here. There's a bird girl called Poppy. There's a couple of extra thick ones that Manny's a huge fan of: Centauria, Arachnera. And in that show, you kind of get, just like my fascination with Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid, you get all these like weird characters that just don't belong in human society, kind of forcing their way into, now that the government knows that they exist and want them to kind of assimilate into with the human population. And so there's still people who are alive from the before time, before the program existed, to kind of intermingle these two species. And so you'll get a lot of pushback. You'll get to see kind of like a how I don't want to equate this to like the civil rights movement at all, but in terms of like how it was to kind of unsegregate two different types of people. That's you get kind of glimpses of it. Not so much racism because there are two different species, but like speciesism, and like people kind of in the very first few episodes, you see people trying to attack Mia, and Darling-kun has to do his best to kind of defend her and keep her safe, and that becomes kind of a somewhat is chilling sub-theme even throughout in the later manga, which again I can, as of last month, is still printing, guys, so this is not a dead manga at all. We just need to get some support for it so we can go ahead and get a season 2 of that anime that we so dearly wish to see back. And yeah, so if you're looking for a top of the line ecchi kind of something that was the predecessor to I don't know if you guys have seen the Monster Doctor. That's an anime that borrowed heavily from Monster Musume. Seto Kai Academy, not the. I know it sounds close to the Seto Kan Academy. The one that it sounds similar to the one I mentioned earlier, but it's different. That one is an animal monster girl academy that borrowed heavily from Monster Musume. So a lot of the successful in this one, I might bring it up onto the ecchi, what do you call it, stream we do, but I'm definitely gonna name drop this one. Interspecies reviewers. That one, like that's if you took, it's if you once you break the line between ecchi and an hentai, that's what it this little molding in between is interspecies reviewers. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. It definitely it's not family friendly whatsoever. But it's if you're a young adult, male or female, it's a really fun anime to watch, and it's still going, and you can watch it still, even though they tried to take it down. It's still available on Crunchyroll. I checked before we started on the stream, and yeah. So I think a couple of honorable mentions that I didn't get to. We didn't get to talk today. My top 3 honorable mentions would probably be Komi Can't Communicate. It's a pretty good slice of life. I would say Bokuben is another one. And probably one more. I would say Nagatoro's. No, Uzaki. Uzaki-chan always wants to play. I have been in love with that manga. I constantly waiting for it every other week. You can hold me down to that. If you guys ever hit me with Uzaki questions, I fucking love that. That little girl is like such a fucking emotional terrorist to the main character. So I'm gonna go ahead and ask Manny his top 3 recommendations outside of his that didn't make the cut, and then we'll go ahead and do our closing statements.
It's kind of tough since I have a hard time remembering some of them.
You don't have to describe them, just like say their names.
Would you count Classroom of the Elite? I mean, they're sort of like living as students. It's just like more to the extreme.
That would be like has more drama and more.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, they're students.
Well, that's the thing. Slice of life doesn't have to be necessarily students. It just means people outgoing their normal daily lives, like essentially like a Sims.
I mean, they are. It's just the least.
I get yes. I'll count it. I'll count it, but it's definitely it's definitely one of those ones that I said about where you just kind of tab on the tab. So that's one. You can go ahead and use that one. By the way, fuck you, Jose.
Wow.
How many words in my mouth?
There's like one I'm trying to remember.
It's alright, guys. It's Jose had it coming.
You're the one that should have seen it coming. You were on Crunchyroll when you know.
Keep going.
I think there was one I was like watching someone recently. Oh wait.
Would Nagatoro make your cut or no? That's definitely one.
Oh yeah. Don't bully me, Miss Nagatoro.
Yeah.
I would say that one too. Oh, I know one. Freaking Defrag. That's the one.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, that's a good one. I think even Defrag counts as shonen because didn't it make it got some love. It got serialized. Like you can still probably I think you can find the books at like your local Barnes and Nobles.
I think so. But yeah, Defrag definitely. It's been a while since I watched it, but yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, last thing too. I hope you guys don't crucify me, but I definitely want to mention this one. I know this one is more, romance and stuff like this, and a few of the other ones we've talked about. Slice of Life tends to have a romantic under theme. Clannad is an all-time great in this sub-theme. Don't forget to watch that. You will cry like a little fucking baby at the end because it's, oh my god, it gets you so emotionally invested. And right when you think you're going to get that storybook ending, it hits you with a dumpster fire ending that makes you want to end it all. Please don't, but it is worth watching.
What about Golden Days?
Golden Days is good too. Also has a interesting. What I would say? I'm thinking of it right now.
What is it called? Aho Girl.
Aho Girl's another good. The one where that Chad guy beats up on the girl because she won't leave him alone.
Trying to seduce him. He literally spits.
Yeah. Again, never. Violence is never the answer unless you're that guy. Okay, that's what I was looking for. Chobits. By the way, this is not my opinion. This is actually a fact. You can look this up on YouTube later. Their opening song is scientifically, geared to make single men get addicted to it. So if you're single and you're a guy and listen to it, I guarantee you won't be able to stop replaying the song in your head over and over and over again until you get rid of that earworm. It's incredible what they do. But otherwise, the anime too is beautiful. It's a lot older anime than the ones we've been talking about. I would say it's from early 2000s, but it's definitely beautiful. Some people classify it as one of the OG romance animes in terms of story building and the fact that the art for its day was top notch. I recommend it not only as a slice of life but as a romance, which will be its own something. But that's good. Do you have any more last minute? I know this is kind of fell apart. It's but I literally would be screaming at my monitor if I didn't bring up Chobit. So.
My Hero Academia.
Oh, I know.
Don't you fucking
I
bring
know
that.
a slice of life. I almost forgot about this. Nichijou.
There's dude.
Hey, let's go! Anybody who hasn't watched Nichijou, you will laugh your ass off. It is fucking funny over and over again. It's an anime that deals with a group of high school girls. One of which I forget her name. The blue her girl is fantastic. She has
I think her name's Mia.
Mia or something like
Mia.
that. Mia has a obsession with guy on guy, love boy love, and she's willing to defend her secret at any cost. I'll let you guys figure out
I know
what
what
that
you're
is.
talking about. Animals are not hurt
she'll-
in the making.
She'll fuck you up.
That poor goat. So also they're dumb as bricks. Her best friend as well. And the robot's pretty funny too, and the doctor and Sakamoto the cat. Sakura Sai's pet. I can recommend it to you, but it definitely left me hollow. The anime.
Sakuraso no pet.
Yeah, the pet of Sakuraso Academy or something like. It just got me. It was good, but I felt like they knew that they weren't getting a season 2, and so they kind of just like rushed it all one season and then that's bam. I fucking hate animes that are like that. But it is what it is. We all can't, be AAA. But at least don't get us emotionally invested like Classroom of the Elite and Jose. Just do us.
You gotta
Don't
let that
do
go,
it.
bro.
Don't do us dirty. Okay? Don't do us dirty like Dark Horse over here. Okay.
No.
So,
You just like blaming people for animes that are not getting what you want.
and remember, guys, above all else, it's not that the goal is to win. It's to make sure that Manny loses.
I fail to see how that works here.
Thank you guys so much for joining. If you guys really enjoyed today's live stream, I hope you're gonna join us on later today. We're gonna be doing the next episode of Manny's Hell Stages. It's gonna be a lot of fun. There's gonna be a lot of tears coming from me, a lot of tears of joy coming from Jose and Manny, and yeah. So looking forward to it. Don't forget, would be the time to mention it. We're going to be doing an Anime Expo live stream for all the days that we're up there, so go ahead and hit us up. Make sure you're followed for that. Make sure you're following me here and you're subscribed to my Twitch and to YouTube, so that way you're eligible for the giveaway that we're going to do when we get back. And I love you guys so much. Thank you so much to our guests, Manny, and for a very brief moment, Jose, in the background. Once again, we'll have him on a later time for the 1v1, but it was awesome. So I will see you guys next time. This is my boy Via Takunatsu. Ara, sayonara. Bye, bitches.